Beloved friends, have you ever felt unseen in your pain and wondered whether God noticed you at all? I know people who are in that state. Now, listen to this. Today we celebrate the fourth Sunday in Ordinary Time. The readings, and in particular the Gospel reading, bring us to the heart of Jesus' teaching, the Beatitude. Growing up and studying in the seminary to become priest and listening to many people speak about the Beatitude have made me come to appreciate and pay greater attention to them and what they really mean. I have heard people say that the Beatitudes are impossible ideals and that they tend to say to everyone who cares to listen, suffer now and get rewarded later. Perhaps you too have heard this before. Now, what if the Beatitudes are not instructions on how to live, but a description of how God already meets us? And what if I told you that in the Beatitudes, Jesus is revealing a way of being shaped by grace and announces that God is already present and active in situations that the world calls failures? In our gospel text today, Matthew situates Jesus on the mountain, deliberately echoing Moses on Sinai. But unlike Moses, who delivers the law, Jesus indirectly names himself as the law in person. The law that does not prescribe behavior, but reveals where God stands with us. Thus the repeated word, blessed. Blessed here does not mean superficial happiness, but a deep state of flourishing rooted in communion with God. The poor in spirit, the meek, the merciful, the pure of heart are therefore those who place their security entirely in God. This idea directly connects with the first reading from the prophet Zephaniah when he says, I will leave as a remnant in your midst, a people humble and lowly who shall take refuge in the name of the Lord. In other words, God deliberately builds his future with those who do not rely on themselves. In the second reading, St. Paul reinforces this revelation to the Corinthian community and to us that God chose the weak of the world to shame the strong. This is not accidental theology because it is the consistent pattern of salvation history where God's power is revealed through self-giving love. Pope St. John Paul II repeatedly taught that the Beatitudes are the Magna Carta of Christian community and Christian life. In Veritatis Splendor, he explains that moral life flows not from obligation alone, but from the encounter with Christ, who calls us into a new way of being human. Thus, the Beatitudes describe what the human person looks like when fully alive in God. Today, the Beatitudes confront our deepest anxieties. When the world tells us, be strong, be visible, be assertive, protect yourself, Jesus says, trust, surrender, give, and forgive. In this way, the Beatitudes offer an alternative culture, the culture of life and love, where to be poor in spirit means resisting the illusion that we can save ourselves. And to hunger for righteousness means refusing moral compromise. And to accept persecution for righteousness' sake means choosing fidelity over popularity. To this end, the Beatitude confront our fear, the fear that if I let go, I will be lost. But Jesus says, no, you will not be lost by letting go. Rather, you will be lost if you cling to power, and that power fails you. My dear friends, in the Beatitudes today is the encounter with Jesus where he receives the wounded, names their reality without shame, restores their dignity, and gently leads them towards wholeness through trust, right relationship, and hope. Therefore, today, for all of us, the question is no longer who is blessed, but which voice will we trust to tell us what true happiness really is. May God bless you.